Today we're testing the Geforce GTX 1070 in Elden Ring. So yeah, you can see the card was released in 2016. This card has 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 VRAM. We are running the latest NVIDIA 512.95 driver. We are pairing it with a Ryzen 9 5900X CPU. And for memory, we are using 16 gigabytes of DDR4 running at 3600 MHz. Right, so here we can see that we are running at 1080p and we are using the maximum quality preset. The game is locked actually at 60 frames per second, so let's see if we can actually maintain that. So here we are just outside of the starting area. This is where you come out after you died the first time. This particular area is actually quite intensive. You can see that we aren't getting the full 60 FPS, but we are pretty close. We are getting about average of 58, and current FPS is, well, 58. It goes up to the 60s there, but it's not a constant 60 FPS experience. It's definitely not a bad experience, and I would be more than happy to play at this frame rate, even though we're not getting the locked 60 FPS. This is definitely a great experience still. You can see that the lows, the 1% and the 0.1% lows are actually very respectable as well. Not a lot of stuttering going on here. So just coming over the hill here, you can see that we are still almost getting the full 60 FPS. The game does look pretty good. I mean, it is running at its maximum quality preset. And even at 1080p, this game is a very good looking game. So I'm just going to lower the preset just to high. Let's see if we can maintain that 60 frames per second. All right, so we're back. We're now running on high preset, and you can see that the game seems to be locked at 60 frames per second, which is exactly what we wanted. You have to kill this guy first before you take out all these guys in this camp. Otherwise, he just alerts everybody, and you'll be in for a very, very difficult time. So even running around in the vegetation here, you can see that it's locked at 60 frames per second. That's actually very, very good. And we have some friends here, not our friends. And this guy in particular is actually, he's pretty difficult. He's pretty quick as well for such a big guy. I usually play this game with a controller. I don't know what the buttons do on the keyboard or mouse. So I'm probably not going to fight him. I'll just rather go this way. Some easier prey. Well, he just followed us. We might not make it out of this alive. We might be able to outrun them though. Let's see. Nope, he's still coming. But enemies aside, this is a very good experience. It's a locked 60 FPS experience. And if you have a GTX 1070, then I would highly recommend you play at 1080p high. But let's see what this card can do at 1440p. Alright, so now we're at 1440p, still on the high preset. We did drop down to the high 40s, the low 50s. All in all, it's still a very smooth experience, a very good experience. If you do experience some input lag with the keyboard and mouse, then I would highly recommend you play with the controller. With the controller, the input lag is definitely not as noticeable. But getting above 45 frames per second, especially in Elden Ring, you shouldn't experience any input lag anyway. So this is actually pretty fun, even if you do play with a keyboard and a mouse. That is, if you can use the, well, you see, he found us. Alright, so let's see what graphical setting we need to use to get a locked 60 FPS experience on 1440p. Alright, so here we are at 1440p on medium quality. And immediately you can see that we are getting almost a locked 60 FPS, and even at medium settings the game looks absolutely stunning. And unlike the GTX 750 Ti video, you do not have to look up into the sky to get above 50 frames per second. Now we've made them all angry, and that's definitely not a fight that we will win, especially at this level. Right, I think we got rid of most of them. So the game is almost running at a locked 60 FPS. If you do get into more intensive areas, you might see that number drop down just a little bit, but I don't expect it to drop below 50, even in the most intensive of areas. So I think if you play at 1440p with the GTX 1070, then medium quality settings is the way to go. Alright, let's see what this card can do at 4K. Right, so we are now at 4K, medium settings, and the game looks okay. I mean, the quality is definitely a lot more crisp, and the frames per second is not as low as I was expecting it to be. This being a third-person RPG melee type of game, I would say that even 30 frames per second is acceptable if you can deal with the input lag. As I said, if you do experience input lag, then maybe just play with the controller, as it mitigates some of that and you won't feel it as much. I don't recommend playing this game at 4K if you've got a GTX 1070, just because at 1440p you do get about double the frame rate and the experience is definitely a lot smoother and a lot better. So lastly, we're just going to try and reduce the quality settings to low. Let's see what the frame rate is that we can achieve at 4K. Maybe we can get it a little bit higher than this. Right now we're at 4K with the low quality preset, and we did gain quite a few FPS, between 10 and 15 frames per second. But the visual quality suffers quite a bit. You can look in the distance, you'll see the trees shimmering. That's not ideal. Even distant objects there, they shimmer quite a bit. And it definitely distracts you from what this game has to offer. I mean, if you have to run around and all you see is a shimmering in the background or in the distance, then that definitely takes away from what this game is supposed to be. So if you have to play at 4K with the GTX 1070, then I would recommend you play on the medium quality preset. Not because of the performance, but just because it looks so much better medium compared to low. Even though you only get just above 30 frames per second with the medium preset, I think it is worth the trade-off. I think this guy's stuck. Maybe we can kill him without him damaging us. Nope, that's a no. He is definitely stuck though. He can still hit us and we can still hit him, but maybe we can... Nope, I think he's coming loose. Nope, still stuck. Luckily, this is a bug-free game. Oh, there we go. I don't think we'll be able to loot him. Oh, here we go. Nope, no loot. Right, so with Elden Ring and a GTX 1070, my recommended settings would be for 1080p high quality, on 1440p go with the medium quality preset, and even at 4K go with the medium quality preset. The previous resolutions, 1440p and 1080p, will give you an almost locked 60 FPS experience with those settings, whereas on the 4K resolution you just get about 30 frames per second average, but the trade-off in quality is just not worth the few extra frames per second you get by reducing the quality from medium to low. Alright, and on that note, we're going to end this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and as always, I hope to see you guys in the next one.